Christmas Day today. The festival is also being celebrated in Nepal today with much fanfare to commemorate the birth of Jesus Christ, the founder of Christianity. Christmas has been celebrated in Nepal not only by Christians but also by people of other religions in recent time. Good morning, I'm Chitrakar and these are the headlines of the hour. The Dahal-led government fails to meet expected improvement in the economy in the one-year period. Around 600 billion rupees remains in banks as investors remain disheartened. Lack of manpower and laboratories result in inadequate test of medicines. 33 types of tested medicines found substandard. Sri Lankan police arrest almost 15,000 people during a week-long drive against drug traffickers across the country. And league leaders Pokhara Thunders to clash against Thangari FC in the first qualifier of the Nepal Super League. Winning team advances into the title decider. The Christian community is celebrating Christmas today to commemorate the birth of Jesus Christ, the founder of Christianity. Christ was born 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem, Jerusalem. Extending wishes on the occasion of Christmas today, President Ramchandra Paudel and Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal said the festival plays an important role in maintaining social harmony. The government has issued a public holiday today on the occasion of Christmas. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal's term will complete its 1 year coming Wednesday. Improvement in external economic indicators have been recorded. However, development expenditure and revenue collection have recorded negligible progress. Around 600 billion rupees has remained in banks as investors have remained disheartened. Meanwhile, experts have termed the government's efforts to uplift economy unsatisfactory. The foreign exchange reserve has been declining and the general public had been reeling under inflation when Prime Minister assumed the top executive post in the country in December last year. Although there has been improvement in the external economic indicators, investors and business persons have remained disheartened. This has failed to create demand in the market. Youths have been leaving the country seeking for foreign employment as new factories and industries have not been established, while the existing ones have not been operating in full capacity. Outflow of 28 billion rupees had been recorded within 5 months of the previous fiscal year in the name of education in foreign countries, while this year the amount has reached 38 billion within the same period. The total foreign exchange, which was 1,293 billion rupees, has now reached 1,696 billion rupees. The improvement in external indicators has been attributed to the decline in remittance, which has also decreased purchasing capacity of those in the country, which has decreased import. The share market indicator NEPSE was 1,924 points when Dahal became the Prime Minister, which now has reached 2,088 points. The real estate market in the country has yet to revive. Interest on loans, which was 12.74%, has decreased to 11.96%. Despite the decrease in interest rate, the private sector has been hesitating to increase investment. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked people in several provinces of how they evaluated the government's efforts to improve the economy in the past 1 year. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
बजारमा व्यापारै छैन अब अर्थतन्त्र कसरी राम्रो भयो र कसरी यो सुधार छ भनेर भन्नु
अर्थतन्त्रमा खासै सुधार भएको देखिएको छैन
सरकारले गर्नुपर्ने ठोस काम गरेको छैन सरकार अलमल लिएको जस्तो छ
सरकारले अर्थतन्त्र सुधारका लागि निकै राम्रो नाराहरू लिएर आइरहेको छ तर प्रगति विवरण भने देखिएको छैन
अर्थतन्त्र सुधार गर्नको लागि अलि कडा किसिमले चाहिँ कदम चाल्नुपर्ने देखिन्छ
अर्थतन्त्रलाई अगाडि बढाउनको लागि के उकास्नको लागि कुनै पनि उपलब्धिमूलक कार्यहरू गरेको जस्तो मलाई चाहिँ लाग्दैन
सरकारले हाइड्रोलाई चाहिँ अलिकति निर्यात गर्ने काम गरेको छ यी चाहिँ सकारात्मक पक्षहरू
नेपाल भित्र चाहिँ लगानी मैत्री वातावरण बन्नुपर्ने हो लगानीकर्ता उत्साहित हुनुपर्ने हो त्यो चाहिँ भएको छैन।
Around 19,000 types of medicines that are manufactured in the country and imported are registered in Nepal. However, there have not been adequate quality tests of the medicines. The National Medicines Laboratory, which is the main entity responsible for quality tests and analysis of medicines, has not been able to carry out enough tests. The laboratory tests and analyzes the medicines collected by the Department of Drug Administration. Officials at the National Medicines Laboratory say that there have not been adequate number of tests conducted due to the lack of manpower and skilled health technicians. The laboratory has a target of testing 1,000 types of medicines annually. However, it tested only around 750 types of medicines last year, out of which 33 types were found to be substandard. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health and Population has said that if the National Medicines Laboratory had informed the ministry regarding the problem, it would have been resolved. Experts opine that the government has been putting the lives of the public at risk by not being able to carry out enough tests of medicines. Experts also say that the government should establish laboratories to test medicines in all the 7 provinces. A mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law have died in an attack by a wild animal in Vinya Triveni rural municipality of East Nawalparasi. Police have said that 60-year-old Mana Devi Paudel and 28-year-old Vishnu Paudel, who had gone to the Vinya community forest to collect grass for cattle, had been found dead. According to the DSP of District Police Administration, Ved Bahadur Paudel, a complaint had been filed after both the deceased, who had went to the forest at around 2 p.m. yesterday, did not return home at night. A search operation was conducted based on the information provided to the police, and the bodies of both the individuals were found in the forest last night itself. Police have initially suspected that both had died in an attack by wild animal. Police have said that the cause of the death will be confirmed after post-mortem. Local residents have said that the cause of their death was due to a tiger attack. They have said that a similar incident had occurred in the forest prior to this. 2 teachers of Jorpati Secondary School of Panchkhal in Kavre have been arrested on charges of rape. The school's principal is also in police custody for his involvement in the rape incident. The teachers have been alleged of raping a 9th grade female student of the school on 28th of October at a hotel. The District Police Administration Kavre has said that both the accused have been arrested and that investigation is underway. Mayor of Panchkhal Municipality, Mahesh Kharil, said that the incident came to the light during his inspection at the school. The principal of the school was found to have contributed in hiding the incident and has been alleged of sending offensive messages to the victim. Spokesperson of Kavre Police, Rajkumar Shrestha, has said that investigation is being conducted on both the arrested teachers. Lawmakers have suggested to increase the education budget to improve the deteriorating education sector. At the discussion held on the Federal Education Bill at the Education and Health Committee of the House of Representatives, parliamentarians stressed on increasing the budget to improve community education. They suggested to include in the bill only one type of permanent teacher system and address the issues that were included in the agreement reached during the teachers' movement. Currently, there is provision of 21 types of teachers at school level. The lawmakers also stressed on the need to link skills with education in the bill. The government is making preparations to introduce a new Education Act after 52 years by dismissing the Education Act in 1971. The parliamentarians also suggested to address all grievances regarding school education and include child development, madrasa, gurukul, among others within the school structure. At the meeting, they put forth their views that schools should be free from politics and laws should be formulated so that employees serving the nation can send their children to community schools. Education Minister Ashok Rai made it clear that the education bill was brought by holding discussions with all concerned sides. Minister Rai said that good education can be provided only if at least 20% of the total budget is allocated to education. The government had presented the education bill at the Parliament on 1st of October earlier this year. Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question: what should be done to better manage child correction homes? Your options are A. Improve infrastructure, B. Effective monitoring, and C. Clear laws. Voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for international update. Police in Sri Lanka say they have arrested almost 15,000 people during a week-long drive against drug traffickers across the country. They say the operation led to the seizure of almost 440 kilograms of various types of narcotics, including heroin. Local media showed footage of officers using sniffer dogs to search homes in Colombo and other places. Rights activists said the raids were illegal as they were conducted without search warrants. A police spokesman said that warrants were not always required to check for drugs. Officials say that a total of 13,666 suspects were arrested during the operation and that 1,097 addicts have been sent to a military-run rehabilitation center. Vehicles and property belonging to alleged criminals were also seized. Activists have said the raids targeted underprivileged neighborhoods. According to experts, traffickers are using Sri Lanka as a hub and the drug passing through the country, including heroin, hashish and cannabis, are creating serious problems. Officials say the searches have been paused for Christmas but will resume next week. Sri Lanka's biggest drug haul by weight was in December 2016, when police seized 800 kilograms of cocaine. Pope Francis lamented the war in the Holy Land, where Palestinian health officials said airstrikes killed at least 78 people on Christmas Eve in one of the Gaza Strip's deadliest night in Israel's 11-week-old battle with Hamas. Israeli strikes that began hours before midnight persisted into Christmas Day today. Local residents and Palestinian media said Israel stepped up air and ground shelling against al-Bureji in central Gaza. Health Ministry spokesperson Ashraf al-Qidra said at least 70 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike targeting Maghazi in central Gaza, adding that many were women and children. The Israeli army said it was reviewing the report of the Maghazi incident and was committed to minimizing harm to civilians. Hamas denies the Israeli charge that it operates in densely populated areas or uses civilians as human shields. The Palestinian Red Crescent published footage of the wounded being transported to hospitals. It said Israeli warplanes were bombing main roads between central Gaza, hindering the passage of ambulances and emergency vehicles. Medics said a separate Israeli airstrike in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza killed 8 Palestinians. Since a week-long truce collapsed at the start of the month, fighting has only intensified on the ground, with the war spreading from the north of the Gaza Strip to the full length of the densely populated enclave. Israel has been under pressure from its closest ally, the United States, to shift its operations into a lower density phase and reduce civilian deaths. Islamic Jihad, a smaller militant group allied to Hamas, said a delegation led by its exiled leader, Jihad al-Naklala, was in Cairo yesterday. His arrival followed talks attended by Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh in recent days. The World Health Organization expressed grave concerns over the destruction of the health system in the war-torn Gaza Strip. The WHO warned that if the health system in Gaza collapses, it would result in a tragedy. The organization also called for an immediate ceasefire from all parties involved in the conflict. According to the latest data released by the United Nations last Thursday, only 9 out of the 36 hospitals in the region are partially operational and struggling to cope with the overwhelming demands. A statement released by the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said, despite the surge in healthcare needs, only 38% of hospital beds are currently available in Gaza, while only 30% of healthcare workers are able to continue their work. Palestinian Minister of Tourism Rula Maya said that the whole world is celebrating Christmas, but not Bethlehem. Maya spoke ahead of Christmas Eve's ceremony yesterday from outside of Bethlehem's Byzantine-era Church of the Nativity, where previous Christmases were joyful displays of lights and trees in Mangar Square. This year, however, Palestinian Christians held a somber Christmas vigil in Bethlehem on Saturday with candlelit hymns and prayers for peace in Gaza instead of the usual festive celebrations at the spot where they believe Jesus Christ was born. Most years, Bethlehem basks in the central place it holds in the Christian story of Jesus' life, born there in a stable because there was no room for his parents at the inn, and placed in an animal's manger, the humblest of all possible beds. Some 2,000 years later, pilgrims usually flock to the reputed location of that stable in Bethlehem's Church of the Nativity. But with Israel's campaign in Gaza having killed more than 20,000 people, according to Palestinian health authorities in the Hamas-run enclave, the mostly Palestinian population of Bethlehem in the occupied West Bank are in mourning too. This year, they decided to have no large tree, the usual centerpiece of Bethlehem's Christmas celebrations, because of the carnage taking place only 50 kilometers away. And in place of the usual nativity scene, as Christians call the traditional display of figurines representing the Holy Family, Bethlehem's churches this year placed the models amid rubble and barbed wire in solidarity with the people of Gaza. Christians make up around 2% of the population across Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories, according to Protecting Holy Land Christians, a campaign organized by the heads of churches in Jerusalem with a smaller proportion in Gaza. Palestinian artist Rana Bishra yesterday showed an installation of a figure of baby Jesus inside an incubator in front of the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem in support of Gaza. Bishra said that there would be no Christmas celebrations amongst Palestinians for as long as Israel bombards Gaza, and she put a figure of a baby Jesus surrounded by cactus thorns inside an incubator and displayed it in Mangar Square on Christmas Eve. Bishra said that her art installation is to honor tens of premature Gazans who were left behind with only 5 doctors and some nurses when Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital was evacuated. The health ministry said back then that 8 premature babies had died in Al-Shifa due to lack of power and medicines. China successfully launched 4 new meteorological satellites into space atop a Kuaizhou 1A carrier rocket from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China at 9 a.m. local time earlier this morning. The 4 satellites, which will be number 11 to 14 satellites of the Tianmu-1 meteorological constellation, have entered the planned orbit, marking the mission as a resounding success. These meteorological satellites will mainly be used to provide commercial meteorological data services. It was the 23rd flight mission using a Kuaizhou 1A commercial carrier rocket. The Kuaizhou 1A is a small-sized solid fuel carrier rocket developed by China Aerospace Science and Industry Corporation Limited. It can provide launch service for 300-kilogram low-orbit small-sized satellites and has high reliability, precision in orbit operation, a short preparation period and a low launch cost. Before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. The Dahal-led government fails to meet expected improvement in the economy in the one-year period. Around 600 billion rupees remains in banks as investors remain disheartened. Lack of manpower and laboratories result in inadequate tests of medicines. 33 types of tested medicines found substandard. Sri Lankan police arrest almost 15,000 people during a week-long drive against drug traffickers across the country. And league leaders Pokhara Thunders to clash against Thangadi FC in the first qualifier of the Nepal Super League. Winning team advances into the title decider. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good day.